There you go. Okay. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. How's everybody? Y'all good? All right. Um, first and foremost, I want to thank Veronica. I've been working with Veronica and the HR team, and we've been having a lot of conversation. And I just want to thank you all, Veronica, for having us here, and thank you all for coming. This is big, and this is one of the things that I just wanted to share with you all. This right here is more of a dialogue, not a monologue. So just want to have some conversation, answer some questions that you all have, address some of the things that you have on your mind, so you know where your credit union is going, and what we're doing to support you all. But it's this PowerPoint right here that I have right here. I'm gonna hit on a few of those things, but I'm just gonna speak a little bit more directly. Definitely have my notes here to keep me online, because I know I have an hour to a little bit over, maybe a little bit over an hour, but I'm gonna try to condense this so I can get you all on out of here. Y'all can continue on with your day. But Edgecombe County, we thank you, for everything that you do, and what you do is big. I see many of you all with the sheriff's department, the HR department. I know as many other departments that you all represent here. But just to get in a little background on me, I am the engagement officer for 13 counties in North Carolina. And so I'm what they call a senior engagement officer for your credit union. And so you will see more of me. A lot of times I will go out to the departments and share the good news that we have to share with the departments, and address the questions that they may have from time to time throughout the journey of your life. And then as well, one of the things that I also would do is we have like the financial wellness seminars and things like that. So I'll be bringing that out as well, and we'll be rolling that out to you all, so you all have access to all of the financial knowledge that's out there, the wealth to build and empower you as you move through life, because that's what it's all about. Um, but one of the things outside of that, uh, I've been with the credit union for about 10 years. Well, 10 years. March 15th of this year was my 10th year anniversary. So it is truly an honor to work with this great credit union. I was in banking before that for about 14 years, and so I've done everything from just being a personal banker to a teller. I've done 5A loans, 7A loans, commercial loans, real estate loans, as far as hotel lending. That was one of the things, and a lot of people say, "Man, yeah." So I was out there, just with those buyers that wanted to buy hotels. That was just one of the things I did. Small business was another area. So I have just a wealth of knowledge there. And so whatever that I have that I can help people with, that is my passion, to get out there and to share that with people, and not to harbor it. But to get down to to what we're here for is, this is you all's credit union. And I know you all are saying, look, what is going on? And and I hopefully many of you all in here, if I can, with the show of hands, I mean, how many of you all actually have a membership or a relationship with local government federal credit union? So I can see. Okay, good, good. That's good, because one of the things that I've noticed is that um, some people, and I want to just sort of paint this a little bit here, the relationship of the credit unions that you all are familiar with. And so you have LGFCUs, the local government federal credit union. And so we were established to serve those individuals that work in local government. So anybody that works for city government, county government, or volunteers, that's what local government was created for back in 1983. Um, then you have the state employed credit union. And so we're two independent credit unions operating on two separate axes, right? And so the thing about it is, a lot of times you all have been accustomed to going to the state employed credit union branch here, and just going in. You've established that relationship with the folks there at the branch. You know the folks, you know them from when you first started your account, some 10 years, 20, some recent. But that's one of the things there. The relationship that we've had and we established with State Employed Credit Union started back in 83. And the thing was, this was the thing. They said, okay, we are here to help you all to serve your members. But so basically, the local government members, you all could walk into that branch, whether you wanted to apply for a loan, whether you wanted to make a deposit, withdraw money. get something notarized, go to the coin machine, all of those things. The background piece, as far as the things that you did not see, the underwriting that we collaborated on between local government and state employee credit union, the audit pieces that you all typically did not see. Those are the things there that was also a part of that agreement. Now, it's been a beautiful, and it has been a beautiful relationship, beautiful marriage. But we say this right here. We're actually coming outside of our parents' basement now, and so this is the thing here, which you all will see with the changes that I'm going to talk about with you. One of the things that we did, and we've always collaborated well. Our boards get together, they talk, they mesh, and that's good because when that communication is very transparent and clear, that's what you want. If you're bored and your people don't talk, then it's not good. But that's been the thing there with our boards. We've always worked together. But one of the things that we got to, and this was, I started in 2015 with LGFCU. So the thing about it, when I started in 2015, we were already looking ahead of the changes that are taking place in the market. So the models are changing. So a lot of times when I came up, I'm a 70s guy. So I came up in the early 70s, very early 70s. And so going into the bank, I used to go in with my dad, and that person there, Mr. Taylor, my daddy, shake his hand, whatever, and the deal is done. And so a lot of that traditional ways of relating with money and with people on the banking side, and then even outside of that, is changing. And so we're adapting to that model and to that change. But just to get to the point, LGFCU and State Employee Credit Union, we had a conversation, right? And this was the conversation we looked at on the business side as how much money we had to pay State Employee Credit Union for those services that they provided. Many of you all were not aware of that and just thinking, okay, well, this is just a collaboration. Everybody is just, working together on this. And we were, but it did come at a cost. And so this is one of the things here, the cost for you all to actually physically walk into that State Employee Credit Union branch and all those other services that I just talked about is $75 million per year. So when you think about that, that's a lot of money. So that's $75 million every year that we would have to write a check to State Employee Credit Union for that service. So it wasn't free. And so that's just one of the things there from a business perspective. We've got to look at the return on our investment. So if we're paying them $75 million and we don't really have the autonomy or the ability to make the decisions that we want to make that's better serving you all, then we've got to go back to the drawing board. And so that's what that was one of the huge big elephants in the room. It was like, okay, we've got to figure this out. So we went back to State Employee Credit Union. We talked with them about, okay, well, our folks said that they want to be able to come into your branch and deposit their cash. Okay. Well, LGFCU, that's going to be $53 million. Okay. Check that off. Okay. All right. What about your cash point ATMs? If they want to make deposits at your cash point ATMs, deposits, well, and that's all of them, 1,100 plus of them out there. That's going to be $11 million. All right. So we've got all that. We've got the 75, 53 million, and the 11 million that we've got to work with. We've got to look at it, and we've got to figure out, are we being good stewards of you all's money? Because at the end of the day, everybody in here that just raised their hand is an owner, and this is very, looking out. And the folks that are online, you all, as our past president Maurice Smith used to say, you all are my boss. And that's the thing about it. At the end of the day, you all. So it's a little nerve-wracking right now. See all my bosses looking at me right now. But the thing is, we made the decision from that point to start to pivot and to really carve out what we could do better to serve you all. That 75 million, the 53 million, and 11 million, the return on that, it just wasn't there. All right. So it wasn't sustainable. So one of the things about it is greater flexibility now with Civic, and that's what you see here. LGFCU becomes Civic this year in June. June 2nd is the date that we're talking about. So June 2nd. Improved digital tools is another resource that we've improved on. The expanded ATM networks is also another factor, and I'm going to talk about that. The shared branch network, that's another thing that I wanted to share with you all about the shared branch network, because this is the thing with the branch network that you all are accustomed to. It's 275 plus branches in as far as the state employee credit union across the state. So we've definitely condensed that, but that's just one of the things that I wanted to share a little bit later with you all. Our commitment to you is to continue to serve you all, continue to serve anyone that works for local government, anybody that works for the city government, county government, volunteers. So a volunteer, like a volunteer firefighter, can actually join this credit union, can join LGFCU. If someone works in Parks and Rec, and they volunteer and they go out and they volunteer with the Parks and Rec department, or they go to the library system and they volunteer, and that person that actually leading that department or that program, by them being a volunteer, that makes them eligible to join Civic, LGFCU, that you all know of. So those are the things there that we're going to continue to do. Now, one of the things there with Veronica we talked about is account continuity. Because I know many of you all, this is the big one. My money. Do I have to change my account? Is anything going to go wrong with my account? Is it going this way or that way? What's the deal? And so the thing is, your account numbers, from your checking account, your money market account, any deposit account that you have will stay the same. So your routing number and your account number will remain the same. So your direct deposit that's already set up will not be disturbed. And so that's number one. That's a good thing, because you just want to make sure that at that time of the month that you're not out there searching for your money, because you all have financial responsibilities, bills to pay, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we did not disturb that. That was very, very important to us at the very beginning of this. The next thing is that your checks, because I know some of you all in here have the local government, federal credit union checks. Y'all write checks. Whether you're writing a check to your church or what have you, you're writing that check. And so this is the thing here. The checks will still work, because we're going to look at, when you're looking at the checks, the only thing that we're looking at, or any institution, is that bottom number, that routing number, and that account number. So that's not changing. So it may have the LGFCU logo, on that check, but you can still use it. When you run out of those checks, you can go ahead on and order your Civic checks, and we're going to take care of that first order of your Civic checks for you. So just let us know when that happens. But that's one of the things as well. I know I've had a lot of questions about that. Your loans, they will remain the same. Whatever your agreement was with your loan, the interest rate, the term, all of the conditions that will follow that loan over to the Civic platform. And so that's another thing there. There's no concern there. We've worked through that process. As far as the payments, all of the due dates, all of that will remain intact. And so that's the other thing that I wanted to share with you. Your share term certificates, so your CDs, that's one of the things there. The same thing goes for that. So if you have a CD out there or a share term certificate, whatever that term is, it will remain there. When it's time for maturity, that is the point where you have the opportunity to sort of look at it and say, okay, well, I'm going to allow this to roll back over, or move it somewhere else where you find that you can earn more interest, because that's what we all do. We're looking at, where can I plant and put my money for a period of time where it can earn the highest yield or the highest interest rate for a period of time. And that's just a smart business decision, right? And so, but the share term certificates are there. Now, one of the things that I wanted to share with you all is that when we have, because of the fact that we are going independent, we now have the ability to really determine what our interest rates will be. We don't have to, our boards and our financial departments do not have to meet together with State Employee Credit Union to say, okay, let's make sure that the alignment is there. Because you all probably, and when you go out there and you look at your interest rates, if you look at State Employee Credit Union and local government for years, they've been pretty similar. Every now and then you may have one that pays a little bit more, but it's not an exorbitant amount or a huge amount where you say, wow. That was a part of the agreement. We couldn't get too far from each other when it came down to rates, because it would look more like it was a competitive thing, and it was not. But this is the thing here with Civic. You will have that. We will have that ability to actually offer, higher interest rates. And so we have a 12-month, a 12 to 18-month share term certificate. And that is actually paying 5.5% right now. And so that's one of the things when you look at the market, there is no financial institution or very limited number of financial institutions that compete with that, especially locally here. So that's just one of the things, because we've minimized as far as the overhead, that's allowed us to be able to do that. And so that is the ultimate goal at the end of the day. That $75 million is to pour that back and reinvest it into you all in the form of better interest rates and in the form of lower interest rates on your loans. That's one of the initiatives that we are looking at there. We're going to do it, and that's just a part of it. I'm going to stop right quick. Is there any question? Because I don't want you all to, be bored or anything like that, but I just definitely wanted to, just to make sure I'm on point here. But any questions out there right now? Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, there are charters out there, and the charters drive the credit union, and it actually instructs and tells the credit union what they can do and what they cannot do. And so, because of the State Employee Credit Union, their charter was designed to serve State Employee Credit Union with state employees and local government. The charter was designed to serve local government, and so to combine those charters, we would have to rewrite everything, and it takes a long period of time, and it just takes a whole lot to rewrite that. And plus, on top of that, secondly, the model. Our members have asked us for different things than the state employees. And that's one of the things with the charter, because you are owner of this credit union, you drive the direction of this credit union. So when you all come to us and you say, well, we want small business accounts, we want higher interest rates, then we have to act on it. And so that's just one of the things there. Just to get down to that part, to answer that, small business was one of those things that a lot of our membership came to us. Many of you all have small businesses, thinking about small business outside of your county work. And so now, as your credit union, we have that option is available to you now. Many people have gone to the State Employee Credit Union branch that are our members, and they've gone in and they've asked the state employee, because they didn't really understand the dynamics of the partnership, but they've gone in and said, look, can't y'all help us with the small business? I have a small business. Can you help me with that? But the thing is, that wasn't state employees' thing to do. That was us. And the only way that we could do that is we had to be independent of them, because we went to them, actually, we did go to them, to be very, very clear on that. We went to them and said, look, our members are wanting small business. What do you all think about that? And so the boards and the powers that be on the State Employee Credit Union side said, well, no, we want to keep it consumer. We don't want to do anything business-wise. And so that's where it ended. It landed there. So we've like, okay, we've got to keep moving. This train has got to keep moving. We can't stop. So that was the thing there, is just really at the end, it was the requests and the requirements that we had to abide by because of our charter. And, that was one of the things, sir. But yeah, so we're moving. We've got great things for you. We've got great things for you. And it's working, and it will continue to work. We just have to, a lot of times that the rubber bands of our mind, we go in and out. and just, we got to release that rubber band a little bit and expand it a little bit, because times are changing. I've talked to some of my, past co-workers that are in the banking, still out in the banking industry, and they're saying they're seeing a lot of the change, when it comes down to technology and so forth. And so that's one of the things there. It's a mind shift. And we as human beings is challenging, to change. Change is hard. I'm just gonna be real. It is hard. But over time, we can do it. We just got to know it. But yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you keep saying higher interest rates. Do you mean like the interest we get on our bank account, or are you talking about like with credit cards?
Right. So one of the things as far as interest rate, yeah, and that's a good question. Yes, on all of it, particularly on the loans though. It's certain things with like your credit cards and so forth, but your loans and your deposit accounts, yes. With mortgages, there's not a lot of control there. That's and so those areas within the loan area and deposit areas that we have complete control, we can make those adjustments.
So you're saying that the interest rates on the credit card is going to be higher than what
No,
it
no,
is now?
no, no. So the interest rates, I mean, they're going to be competitive,
Uh-huh.
but that's the thing there. They will be competitive, and we're not going to allow it to get out of, just out of hand here. Anything that we can do to minimize the interest rates on whether it's a credit card, whether it's a loan, we're going to minimize it. On the deposit side, anything that we can do to increase that interest rate, we will also do that. But that $75 million will allow us to make those proper adjustments. So, yeah, a good question, though. Okay.
When you go online now to local governments, you put in your password and all that.
Yes.
How would that change? Like, how would I go in and look at Civic? Is that do I still go under local government like I've been doing?
Good question. Great question. So look, we hitting on spots before I even get there, but that's good. That's good. That's what I want. The app. So now you have the local government app, the Member Connect. So you can go in now with your app. You can sign in with your username and your ID, and you can see your accounts. You can do bill pay, all that. Right. What's going to happen is Civic has an app, and it looks very similar. That the actual brand, the Civic brand, when you go on to your Apple store, it has Civic, and it's in red, and it has 3 stars on the top, and that's how you can identify that that's the correct app. But the app, what the recommendation is that you go ahead on and you download the app now. But when you download the app now, it is not going to work right now, because a lot of people are downloading and trying to go in, and it's not working. And the reason being is we have to transition all of those accounts, and we have 400,000 members, and move all that over from the LGFCU platform over to the Civic platform. And so June 2nd is the actual date. June 3rd will be the time frame when your Civic app will be up and running. I don't know the time. Like, I don't know if it's going to be 11 o'clock that day, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, but it will be available that day. And then all of your accounts that you have, as far as your checking accounts, any account that you have, will transition over to your Civic app. So you then will be able to see it. But this is one of the things, when you sign on to that Civic app, your initial signing on to that app, you will still be able to use your LGFCU username. It's going to prompt you to add in your a new password. And so if you have one locked in on that, you can use that. But if you want to use something different, go for it, and use that new password. But it's going to prompt you, and then once that does, it's going to open up, and you'll be able to see everything with that new Civic app. But that's going to be on, June 3rd. Yes, ma'am. Yes. So we do have Apple Pay. That will still be in place. Another app that I wanted to share with you all is, and I don't know how many people in here use that, but Zelle. As far as their person-to-person, app. And so we've invested into Zelle. We have built parameters around that to be able to support that, because I know, a lot of you all listen to, what's going on out there, and there have been financial institutions that do not manage that well. But we do. And so that was one of the things we've invested in, that and making sure the firewalls and all that is there to protect, your money, because a lot of times when you send money through Zelle, when you send it, it needs to be, you need to be spot on. And this is the person I need to send it to, because once it's gone, it's gone. But yes, so we'll have the Apple Pay, we'll have Zelle. So yes, so we're keeping that intact. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
State.
Uh-huh. Oh boy, y'all you hit. Now, if yours is blue, that's State Employee Credit Union. So that's why that's why I was like, anybody here is LGFCU, raise your hand, because that's the thing. But there are some folks in here that are dual members. And so that's LGF. I'm a dual member. I work for the tax office back in the 90s. And so that's when I started my state employee account. I still had that. But this is the thing here. Some of you all are dual members. And so if you have the state employee relationship and that card and account, nothing changes for you. As far as you walking into the branch, all of that will remain the same. But it's only for state employee products and services. If it's anything that you have as far as your local government accounts, if you have your direct deposit that's going in, and that's one of the things, I mean, that's something you would have to talk with Miss Veronica over there as far as switching it if you wanted to do that. But whatever you have with LGFCU, all of that is what's going to transition, and that's where the difference comes in. That will change from LGFCU to Civic. But with that state employee, none of that changes. Anything that you have over there. So you can still go in, but this is the thing, June 2nd is actually the date for LGFCU members. When it comes down to them actually walking into a state employee credit union branch, that's where it stops on that day. The state employee credit union at that point will not serve LGFCU members anymore, or soon to be Civic, on that day.
I'm sorry, I wanted to ask one more question.
Okay.
If you're paperless,
mm-hmm.
if you're paperless statements, and would that stay the same also?
Yes, ma'am. So that will remain the same. So you don't have to, go in and check the boxes on that. So yes, and that's good. That helps. We're when we think about sustainability, that's one part of Civic. Going out here cutting all these trees down. We care about the environments. We have I know this, and I'm gonna get a little hittle here, but we have a couple of beehives that we have now up in Raleigh. It's up in Raleigh, but it's one of those things there. You'll see a whole lot of things that we're doing, but we have beehives, and so we're harvesting honey. And so if y'all want some good honey, go to Greenville. Go to Greenville. They usually have it out there at the branch, and you can go in there and they have the little small jars of honey. And I'm gonna tell you, it's good. It is real good. But yes.
I have kind of like a two-parter, I guess.
Okay.
Is the Cash App?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Your account numbers and everything that's connected to Cash App, because they're the same, you can continue to keep that because there's no change in that.
Okay. And the other thing is, one of my main problems was I don't go in the bank that often anyway. I do everything through ATMs.
Okay.
And I think that's probably a lot of people's question is the ATM
access, where is that going to be at? And if I do have to go to a bank, is the closest one Greenville? But I mean, most of my stuff, like I deposit money through the ATM, I withdraw money from the ATM. So like, where will we have access? Because I know y'all are reimbursed, but instead of having to worry about that reimbursement, where will Civic people be able to go and not have to worry about that?
Okay, so yeah, y'all hitting on something. I tell you, it's just to throw my stuff. I might just taking this throw it on off it, look, but I love it. But yeah, ATMs, and that's right. So number one, and I'm just want to try to just break this down here. So that reimbursement part. So it's any ATM is the service that we're providing through Civic, and what that is basically you can go anywhere in the world and use any ATM, and what we will do is we will reimburse you up to $20 per month. And so that's just one of the things. So whether you're here in Tarboro, whether you take a trip and you go to Hawaii, whether you use a Truist bank, a Truist ATM machine, there's going to be a charge, $3.50, etc. And what we would do as your credit union, we're going to credit you back that amount within 24 hours. So you'll see the money, that $3.50 going out, and you'll see the credit that comes in and wash that. So that's one thing there. And that's one of the things we want to make sure that when you all go out and you're using these ATM machines, that you are not charged to pull your own money out of these machines, and the accessibility to them. We want to make sure that you're good with that. The ATMs as well, you can use the cash point ATMs. That's still a part of our agreement with the State Employee Credit Union. So, but that's for withdrawals only. Now, that still stays in place, with that. So that is not disturbed. Now, the deposit side, when you're talking about going into these ATM machines and making a deposit, and I wish I had there is when you go on, and it's one of the things I can send that to you, Veronica, maybe you can send it out there, but there's a link. And what this link is, it basically shows all of the ATMs, all of the branches, all of the co-share branches, all of the ATMs where you can actually make a deposit at an ATM. It will show on a map. And then you can go in and determine, okay, which one is the closest to me, and make the deposits there for the ATM. But there's a very, very limited number. It's about 76-ish, It's around here. It is not. Yeah, it is, because I looked at it. Yeah, and it's not. But one of the things that I definitely wanted to share with you all, we have talked with Telco, because Telco is here. So we've got the co-shared branches that we have a partnership, and I'll just go ahead and talk about this with the co-shared branches. The co-shared branches, what that is, it's a group of smaller credit unions, and we all partner, within this system. And so you all will have access to these co-shared branches for transactional purposes. So if you're going in and you say, well, I want to withdraw cash, I want to deposit cash, make loan payments, there's certain loan payments that you can make at these co-shared branches, transfer money between the accounts. Some have the coin machines in them, not all of them. Get your balances. Some have the notary services. But basically, whatever their price is for that service, that's where it will fall in line, So, but the accessibility is there, for you to use those branches. You will not have to pay the deposit money. You will have access to it. But like if there's a notary service that they provide, then that's one of the things there where there may be that experience there will not be a charge for that. Yeah, there will not be a charge. And that's the thing. I'm just putting it out there. We're talking with Telco, and we're having a conversation with Telco. We have not inked anything. They have, because basically those smaller credit unions, they have to join the network. And so you may have, like for example, you may have Coastal. Now, Coastal's main office is in Raleigh, right? But they have offices. They have one in Rocky Mount and other places. But Coastal, as you know, some of those branches in those areas are not a part of the network, even though they may be a part of the network at large. But those smaller branches are not. And so those things are the things that I just wanted to make sure. And that's why it's so important that when you can go out on the app will pinpoint right exactly. If you can put in Greenville, you can put in Tarboro, Wilson, what have you, and it will actually pinpoint where everything is. Not in an ATM machine, right? Well, depositing cash, and this is the thing here, and this is a little different, y'all. There's two things, and I wanted to share with you on that. It is, and I just got some news yesterday, and I just want to make sure. And it's two things here. But one, I wanted to make sure this Walmart. So on that app, you will have it's two options there, right? And so for cash, you're gonna have Walmart retailers. Walmart is one. And so you can actually physically walk into a Walmart store, not into that Wood Forest bank that's in a lot of the Walmarts, but actually going in and talking with the clerk that's there, whether it's in the customer service or whether it's in line. You show your debit card, and when you show your debit card, it goes in just like you're doing a debit transaction. And what it is that card will actually link into the system, and it will identify the proper account that you want to put it into. At that point, you give that person whatever dollar amount, your cash. You give them your cash, it actually goes into your account within seconds. And so, right. No, right. Because even physically walk in, yes, you would have to physically walk in. And so, and it's, let me just, well, okay. Appreciate it. Okay, so these are the locations here for your cash withdrawals. And so we have Civic so we've built 11 branches across the state. And so we have, the Murphy, the Asheville, Hickory, Charlotte, Greensboro, Durham, Raleigh, and then Lumberton. And then we have the Wilmington, Greenville, and Ahoskie. So those are your 11 Civic branches. So those are the branches there where you can, at any time that you want to walk in, whether it's for a loan, whether you're making a deposit, withdrawal, you can go there. But honestly, a lot of times, many of you all have it in your hand right now. Many of you all don't even go in the branch. And this is a thing, we actually did a study. And we looked at our membership and their transactions and what they do. And 85% of the transactions that they took part of was done outside of the branch. So 15% of the transactions were actually just walk in. But that's one of the things there, in this day and time, the convenience factor is there. You can do a lot of that just through your phone, through your laptop. Cash, you can't do that with cash. You got to go in somewhere. And so we've got the cash points. That network is there. The ATM retail locations, the Walmart, the Walgreens, the 7-Elevens are there. If you want to go in and actually make deposits, you can go into those locations and make those deposits at those locations. The co-shared branching network, That's another location, making deposits and withdrawals at those locations. But the app will actually show you, where those locations are, where you can make those deposits. The thing about it, like with we have another one it's a QR code solution. And it's a little bit over 2,400 merchant locations, and it's over 60,000 nationwide. But members, you all can go, and that's the same thing. That's with the Walgreens and the 7-Elevens and so forth, where you can actually go in and make those deposits at those locations. There's a minimum deposit amount of $20, and the maximum daily limit is $2,500. That's coming soon, through Civic. And so the thing is, there is it varies merchant by merchant though. And so that's the thing there. You just have to keep in mind, every merchant operates differently as far as the amounts, but those are the standards there. The Walmart, which we call it's basically green dot, right? And so with that there, you also have the ability to make those deposits at the Walmart. There's a fee typically from there. It's like a $3.95 fee. We reimburse that. So you don't pay that. So that's, again, we're not, you're not going in and saying, making this deposit and saying, oh, I got to pay to make a deposit. So that will be reimbursed. So I just want to make sure that I'm very transparent and clear on that there will not be a charge for your deposit at a Walmart or the other stores. Yes, ma'am. Yes. I just made a deposit last night at 10 o'clock, and that's the beauty of it. You go, and it's the front side of it. And that's the thing about it with the checks. You have checks, take a picture of the front and the back, the remote deposit capture, and it goes right on into your account. I love that feature because it's any time, that you have that time and that convenience to do that. You don't have to get in your car, take time off. You can go right on in and make that deposit at any time during the day, night, and it's there. The convenience factor is so important to us because when you look at the time that we have, you're here 8 hours a day. And then when you get home, you're tired, it's just, and then you just think about, okay, man, I got to make this deposit. Lord. So the thing about it, you can make those deposits at any time, and that's one of the things there just so important to us is that, when you think about the time factor, it's more important to us that you spend time with your family and your friends than to, be concerned about making all of these other business decisions throughout your day. Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. So let me just make sure. So you're saying as far as your mortgage payment, if you have a mortgage payment that you want to, you can, and this is the thing here, your mortgage payments. Now I want to get into to your business there, but your deposit, when your deposit goes in, how do you have that set up now? Do you have it set up where it's just automatically, drafted from your account, or do you actually just make it manually? You just go in each month and you say, well, I'm gonna make. Okay. Right. So this is the thing. April 30th was, and that's like if you had it on payroll deduction. If it was on payroll deduction, April 30th was the last official day. And so as far as payroll deduction is concerned. And so the thing is, we've had officers that are available, and they still are, to go in and to actually go in and actually help with making, situating things where your payments are reoccurring. And so if there is I know with the LGFCU mortgages, the mortgages that we have, if you had a mortgage with us, and I don't know if your mortgage is with us, but if there is any gap or anything there within a late payment, we will make sure that we take care of that, and waive any kind of fees that may be assessed. But this is the thing here. I would highly recommend, if you haven't, actually go in and actually have a conversation with our experience center to get that, set in place. Because what's going to happen is you may have to make that payment manually, this first one through this, because that window is it's a weird window. And go ahead on and manually make that payment. And then on your next, go ahead on and set that up for just a reoccurring. Mm-hmm. Well, see, and you're saying in May, so May 30th, at that point, everything will be over on the Civic side. June 2nd, right? June 2nd is when all of the accounts go over. So your checking accounts, all of your accounts go over to Civic. So whether you have a deposit account, your mortgages, all of that will go over to the Civic platform. So if you have any kind of payments that need to be made at that point, all of that is still kept intact. So we're not disturbing, as far as, the date that it's drafted and et cetera. All of that will remain the same, and the draft will remain the same because your accounts are going to be the same. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Okay, so so now, and this is the thing, we're in May, right? So we're in May, and if you wanted to go ahead on and set that up, you can actually you can set that up now, and they will go ahead on and get that done for you on the experience side. So your payments are, basically will continue on. But a lot of people, well, I won't say a lot, but some have decided to say, let me just go ahead on and make this manual payment depending on the time when they get paid and make that payment. But for you, sir, I mean, if it's something there where you're talking about a May 30th payment, my thing is you still have time at this point to go ahead on and just, if you wanted to go ahead on and make that payment, go in and manually make that payment. And then from there, your next one, you can set that up for your next payment to draft. Yeah, yeah. So LGFCU, you will on the LGFCU. Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it is. It is a lot in Edgecombe. A lot, from you all here, Rocky Mount. We've been having these conversations. Um, the senior team has been looking at, some options. But honestly, I don't think that as far as a branch, you talking about a branch, I don't think that it is in the writing to, in the plans to actually go in and build out a branch in this area, because there are other areas. What we did, and just so I can go in and actually scope that a little bit here, when you look at all those dots up there, that's 80% of the membership. And so what we did is we looked at where the membership is across the state, and then we drew a 30-mile circus or radius around that 80%. And then that's where we figured out where to position, our branches. So you'll see where a lot of those circles, you'll see where those branches are. And that even far east, yeah, it's not a whole lot of circles there, but we definitely tried to spread it out, amongst it, so it would not be a tremendous drive if you needed to go to a branch. But going again, the branch piece is there. And we want to make sure that that's there for you, for those that use the branch. But a lot of times you can do the things that you need to do with your phones, on your laptop. You don't necessarily have to go into the branch. It takes 5-10 minutes for you to start an account, with your credit union. The loan process is online. It does not take a tremendous amount of time to do that. But we want to honor that though, because you all did come back and say, hey, we want branches out there. And so we had to build a business plan to be able to cover it, in a reasonable way across the state. The thing is with branches, millions of dollars for a branch. And then on top of that, you have to staff that branch. And so when you think about the cost factor of that, each individual in that branch, and then just the brick and mortar, it's the return on it is not going to be there. The accessibility for people that walk into it, yeah, that'll be there. People can walk in, but the wave of the time with technology and the advancement of technology is going away from that. And so it would be counterproductive, for us to go out there and build this branch. And that's all of our money in here to build that branch. And then at the end of the day, we don't see a return on it. That's not a solid investment that we want to make on the behalf of our owners. And so that's the reasoning behind it, because the wave is coming. We're getting ahead of it, way ahead of that curve. That curve is there. And so we're just getting ahead of it. And that's why we're feeling it's the tension of it, because of that curve, and it's something new. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can, and this is a thing here, a good question. There's going to be a window of time, like for example, with the apps and everything, that you will not be able to see, everything that's on your account, because we have to transition everything from local government over to Civic, right? But if you wanted to see something between that window of time, because this is the thing here, just one, on your debit cards on the 29th, the LGFCU debit card, we're going to pull that down. So you will not be able to use your debit card on the 29th. On the 30th, you can then at that point start to use your Civic card. So that's the thing there, from that standpoint. But it will still, of course, still be connected to your account, because none of that changes. Now, to be able to see, like I mentioned, we're after June 2nd to June 3rd, where you'll be able to see that. So that's that window as far as when you want to go in and look. If you want to go in and look and see what's going on with your accounts, that's going to be that window of time that you will not be able to see that. But you can call our Experience Center, our 1-800 number, and they are able to see everything. But after that, you will be able to see that. So the thing is, I guess, and I just want to make sure. So are you? Right. Until the 2nd. Mm-hmm. Right. Correct. Mm-hmm. Correct. So you will be able to still on the 30th, all of that will transition over to your Civic card. So you will be able to still continue to use your Civic card on the 30th. Nothing changes there. So the 29th is when that LG card, right, we turn the switch off. On May 30th, you will be able to use that Civic card. No, no, no. You will have access to your money. But this is the thing here. This is at the end of the day on the 29th. So all through that period of time, you will have access to your LGFCU card. But when it clicks over to the 30th, it will transition over to your Civic card. So you will still have access all the way through the 29th. We're not cutting it all where you, I can't use my card as a dead zone. So just make sure, because look, don't want you all to feel like you don't have access to your money. Right. And that's the thing. Midnight. It will be on the Civic card. Okay. So what's going to happen with your salary advance loan? That is going away, right? And so what we're doing is on June 3rd, June, after everything is set up and you see your new accounts on your Civic portal, right? You can see all of that. You will, instead of seeing that salary advance loan, you're going to see basically it's a line of credit that you will see. And so we're instating a line of credit. And the reason being is that a lot of times with the salary advance loans, they are not designed. You can actually get into a negative spin, a negative cycle, and it is not healthy for anybody in here, right? We understand that. And so we said, okay, to best serve you all, let's set up the line of credit. And then at that point, you can pay on that, but you're not caught into that negative spin because it's just not, it does not put you in a happy place with that salary advance. A lot of people get hooked on that and they just continue to lean on that, and it's not a healthy thing. But that's what's going to happen with that. Is going to be a line of credit that will be established. And that's what the line of credit will be 5. If you wanted to, that is a loan process if you wanted to increase that line of credit. But everyone that has a salary advance loan will automatically get that line of credit for $500. Mm-hmm. Now, I know, and I just noticed that both state and local, once you're doing the salary advance, before the way it was set up was once you get payback, mm-hmm, it builds it up, and then it used to go over. Right. Right. So if you have stuff sitting there, mm-hmm, and you're at the 5. Okay. But it's sitting there. Right. So it's not going away, whatever. Mm-hmm. So how does that affect this line of credit? So is the line of credit what I got sitting, or is it something separate? I mean, you're at that threshold right there. So yeah. Right. I hear you. And that, I mean, that balance, we'll carry that over, as far as, whatever it is over that $500 amount there, we're going to carry that over. And then you just pay on that amount. But typically that's going to be the actual starting in June. That is going to be the limit on that is the $500. But we're carrying that over. As no, as far as us going in and saying, well, we're going to, if you got $50 or so forth, that's over, and just trying to, figure out a plan or determine that out. No. So yeah, that will all transition over. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. It's right. It is, if you put in mind like like a credit card, I mean, you're gonna have your minimum amount that you can pay on that. And then the thing is though, you want to pay as much as you possibly can on that to buy down and eat that balance down. So it will be back available to you. So it is basically it's just an open end line of credit, so it's just like it's revolving. So it's just like a credit card. You pay on it. When you pay it off, you pay the interest and the principal and the amount that you borrowed on that. Once all that's paid, then you have access back to that line, whatever that maximum amount is, which is $500. So it is going to be on, it's a payment plan, basically, where you're making those monthly payments on that. And that helps build your credit. We have through Civic, we have an emergency loan product that's out there. We also have a credit builder loan product that's out there. And so the credit builder is basically for those individuals that want to rebuild their credit. That's one of the things there that you can actually go in, establish, say, if you say $500, we will actually put $500 into a savings account. We will put a lock on that. And then we will set up on the $500, we'll set up a term over a certain period of time. You make the payments on that. We're going to report that to Equifax and TransUnion. And then basically you're going to have all of your payments, are going to be made to those credit bureaus. At the end, once that term is over, then basically your loan is paid off. That $500 that we put over there in that savings account will be released. And then so you will have $500. It's a twofold. So you have $500 in the savings account and you built your credit. So that's what we have, in store, for you. And it's just the things there that as you all come to us, we're thinking through this and just trying to build out products and services that will empower you as you move forward in life. Yeah. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Every time I go over that, I get a nasty gram telling me to have now right. Is that going to be waived or is there going to be some allowance for that? I'm transfers all the time, paying bills and like credit card bill. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Well, if you, and this is the thing, if you're transferring monies from your savings account, that is where that regulation comes in. So a lot of times it's 6 is that typically the max number. And that's a sort of a universal thing there. But if you're transferring money out of your savings account, that savings is there for that very purpose to save money. So if you're taking money from your savings and transferring it over to your checking account, yes, those limitations are there. I would recommend, possibly putting, opening up, if you have a money market. Okay. Money market is one of the things that I highly recommend. Is $250 is the minimum amount to open up a money market. But as long as you keep that $250 in that money market, there is no service, there's no fee on it. But moving money out of your money market, into any account, you can do that at any time. and there's no limitations on that. Plus, you earn more interest on it. And so that's why I highly recommend people, just because I'm out here to make sure that I'm putting out here, that we're putting out the best formative information for you all. But I would recommend opening up a money market account and putting your money there. If you're moving money from that account, you've got this hub over here, your money is, you're saving money here. You need to move money out of that and put it into a money market account. But on a savings account, if it's there, the limitations are, it's nothing that we can really do with those limitations there, on the maximum amount of transfers outside of that. Okay. Yeah, I would have to look, because you shouldn't, I mean, if it's going into your checking account, you definitely should not have any charges. But if it's coming out of your savings account, going into one of your other deposit accounts, I can see that. But we'll have to talk through that one. And just sort of look at it, I have to really look at that one and see, where your transactions are and what you're talking about, so I can see it. Also just reaching out to, again, into our experience center and talking with them. And so we can figure out a better plan for you, plan of action for you. But for example, and this is the thing here with the app, the Civic app, it's got where you can add an external account. So say, for example, you have Telco, you have Truist. You can actually add those deposit accounts that you have with that financial institution to your Civic app. And you can transfer monies in between those accounts from on your Civic app. And so we've invested into that service, so our members, because we realize that just going out and going in and you say, well, I need to go over here to this financial institution and pull money out and make a deposit over here. You don't have to do that anymore. You can do it right there online. And so you can go right on online and say, I want to, and it'll have the two to drop down in all of your accounts that you want to transfer. If you want to transfer from Truist over to Civic, or Civic back over to Truist, you can do that. And so that will be an option that will be available to you after the transition. Yep. So that in itself will help a tremendous amount of our members of going to the branches, and just saying, well, I need to stop here, and here. You won't have to do that. If you want to have it where it's set up, where it's automatically just going, that's another thing that you can do. I do want to make sure for the debit cards, because I talked about that number will change. So if you have anything that's connected to your debit card, like with debit cards, that's on Amazon, okay, that's going to change. And so that's one of the things there, just to make sure your number on your debit card, that number will change. So I just want to make sure that everybody is fully aware of that. When you go in to activate your card, basically what's going to happen is, at that point, when you activate your card, your PAN will change, and so that's one of the things the system is going to prompt you to change your PIN at that point. If you say, well, I just want to keep the PIN that I've used with my local government card, you can keep that if you want. If you want to change it, but it's totally up to you. But that's just one of the things that I do want to stress, that will change, is your debit card number. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So all of that will remain the same, so anything where an individual is like a custodian for a certain individual, all of that will remain intact. with those accounts. And so all of that information will remain and will go over to Civic. Two, yes, we understand, with our older generation, and them just wanting to go into the branch, and we, that's we realize that, and that's just one of the things that's just a part of, just a change. My dad is 80, right? And so a lot of times now, like with even him going to the doctor sometimes, he has the iPad, and so he can visit his doctor. And I never thought to see him do that, but he's doing it, because it was a huge pushback, when I just expressed things to him. Dad, what you think about this? Because I know him. He's old school. And that's good. That's just the way he likes to do business, and he still does. And that's the thing about it. It may not fit for everybody. And so the thing is, what I stress is that if you have the access and the ability to start the relationship with us, there may be a time where it may be a local institution that they may want to consider, for those small transactional things that they have. And then from an investment standpoint, keep that LGFCU, soon to be Civic, relationship, because they can actually put their monies where it's going to earn more for them. If they go to a local bank, it is 100% they're not going to get anywhere near the interest rate, whether it's a loan or a deposit. But from a transactional standpoint, yeah, and that's the thing there that we all stress on that. But yeah, I hope that answers, and I know it's a challenge, but that's one of the things that we have in place. But it's easy. We're gonna work it out. And then once they get, basically the relationship, they reestablish the relationships with, whether if they decided they needed to, make that drive, if they needed to go to Greenville, to talk with someone about something that they need to talk about, whether it's something that they need to notarize or what have you, we're there. That's a good question. That's a real good question. I don't have an answer for that. I know we've been talking with them. I actually came and did a presentation with the town of Tarboro. So we've been talking since then. So it's been a little bit over a month now that we've been talking with them. But I don't know if that's going to be something that will definitely be something that they will have to invest in. It's not something that we can just say, hey, we want you to do this. They have to look at everything that they have as far as, is it something that they can afford to do, because it is an investment on their side to join that network. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, it would. Yeah, it really would. And that's that was one of the things. And we'll definitely keep that you all informed on that, because that's near you all. And so we'll be contacting and talking with Ms. Veronica. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right now, anybody that's a local government member now, all that transitions over. So that's automatic. Now, the same thing goes if someone is an immediate family member, they can actually join through that vein as well. And so basically, when they join, they're going to ask, some of the basic information about that person when they go online to set that up. But yes, but that is one of the things. And we've just implemented this as well, where through our foundation, individuals can join as well. And so that is another inroad for individuals that do not work for local government. So if you don't work for city government or county government, you can actually go through our foundation, which the foundation, the Civic Foundation, is a whole totally, different. Well, it's a part of the credit union, but we do a lot of things, grants for nonprofits, nonprofit businesses, and we award them, up to $75,000. We do every quarter. So, but it's 3, so it's $25,000 for each nonprofit. But that's just one of the things there that we do. And then, of course, the scholarships, that's still there. But a lot of that through the foundation can be done. That's another inroad that we've just started on that to implement that. So in June, those individuals that are outside of local government, they can go through there. And it's a couple of questions, like a 5 series of questions. They answer those questions, and then they can become a member. Yep. So. Yes, so their accounts they will remain the same, and just the structure of, the ownership of those accounts, all of that will remain intact. We have the like the next gen, and it's very similar to like your Fat Cat, accounts. So we have the Young Star and then the next gen, and so that's 17 is the max for that for children. So it's from 13 to 17, and then the Young Star is from 0 to 12. And there's more that we're going to be doing, in regards for youth. But you're saying so they're beyond their. I got you. Mm-hmm. It will how it's established now, as far as the ownership and the way it's connected, that will remain the same. Now, if you wanted to change that, that's something that we would have to work through on the Experience Center for them to actually change that. If that's something that you want to do, or say, well, Mom, I want to separate, because I have a 23-year-old, and so she's on. Dad is on the accounts, and she's over. And that's the thing, that's just one of the things until she comes back, because she's overseas right now, but she'll be coming back. And so when she comes back, I'm already setting stuff up where she can just be totally independent and do her thing. But I need to keep an eye on it to make sure she's good. But I know this gentleman here, I just want to make sure, because I know we're way past, and I want to be respectful of you all the time. But as long as Ms. Hill over here says I'm good, I keep on rolling. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yes, and that's a great question. So yes, so the health savings account, as long as your local government health savings account, that will transition over. You will get a new card for that as well, but that will transition over. If any of you all have a credit card in here, May 19th is the date that you should activate that. And so, but if you haven't already received it, because it's going out in batches, those credit cards, May 19th is the date. So once you get that card, May 19th is when you can actually go in, activate it, and continue to use it as you please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's one. I apologize. I got to this late here, but with our Experience Center, and I just want you all to know we've got a dynamic Experience Center in Raleigh, and so you can chat with them. With a video chat is the feature there. So if you wanted to video chat with someone, that's a pretty cool option, where it is someone that's locally, is nobody that's cross seas, local folks here, where you can understand what they're saying. It's important. We invested in that. So the video chat, and I use it, all the time, and just to test it and keep it. But that person will actually pop in. A lot of people are surprised, because they click on the video chat, and it's sort of like in the bottom corner of when you go on to the homepage, you can click down there and say, I want a video chat. It gives the options. But to answer your question, yes, sir, you can call our 800 number, and they can also transfer that for you. They can do it for you on your behalf, sir. They sure can. And so we've definitely made sure that we had to, because that was a part of us going independent, to have our own call center. And so it's 24/7. And so those folks are there 24/7. They have, those shifts. But the video chat feature is there. You can talk with them, whether you're applying for a loan, whether you're whatever it is. If there's a maintenance thing that you want to talk about, you can go on video chat. They pop up on that screen, and and you talk and you have that conversation with them. If it's something like on your computer, and you're using your computer and you say, well, I don't understand how to navigate this. I'm trying to figure this out, how to get here and here. They'll ask you for your permission, because they can't do it without that. They ask you for your permission. Can they remote in? And they can remote in, to that app, to our app, and actually guide you through the steps of what you need to do. So we're there to support you, through the entire experience, because it's all about the experience. But yes, sir. Okay. So a quick thing here. You can also text, you can email our experience center. The secure message piece over there, that is just like if you have a if it's your social security number or account number and you have a question about it, send it through the secure message, because it's encrypted. And so we want to make sure that we're protecting, your information. And so that is the best path to go through that. The products and services that we have, we will continue, like what you all are familiar with, as far as the mortgages, the personal loans, auto loans, all of that is still intact. The kids accounts, business loans, and that's another thing, the business loans and deposits. We have that currently. On the other side, it's coming soon. We have the insurance products, the estate planning. That is going to be a part of it as well. So the estate planning, for those that are still, just looking at, okay, I need to establish that my will. We can help with that. And that will continue to grow. We have a lot of things that we're working on outside of this. I mentioned quickly on that, just the credit bureau builder product, and as well as the emergency loan. That's something that's not offered now, but we are offering it now through Civic. And so that will be available to you as well. And just many more things that we have in store. Continue to share your voice and let us know. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to send my contact information over to Veronica, and as well, I don't know, Veronica, did you send it? Because it was an email that I had, just about some of the links and the hubs and all of that. And maybe that's something there as far as just getting it out to everyone. But that's one of the things there. There's a hub where there's a lot of the questions that you all have that you can actually go out, and we have that in place for you all to look at those questions and answers, so that when things you're up, because a lot of and in tune with what's going on. And just quickly on the advisory council, this is just my invitation. There's no way that I can actually get out and cover the amount of landscape that I have out here, the 13 counties. But the thing is, the advisory council and the advisory council members are very, very important to us. And so they're just an extensions of who we are. For me, for example, if we have the meetings, and basically with those advisory council meetings, we meet quarterly. And we just talk about things. We sit around a table. We have lunch for about an hour. We talk about things that's important to you, things that are important to your family. And then we have that conversation. We take notes. And then from there, from the notes, we actually take it back to our board. And our board makes a decision on, okay, well, this is something that we need to go ahead and we need to implement this. And we make it happen. And so the advisory council is very, very important to our progress and where we go as a credit union. So if you're wanting to be that part, and we listen, believe me, because I've been on a lot of meetings, and it's powerful. But I know we covered a lot of questions, but that's the thing there. At the end, thank you, for your questions. I'm going to ask Ms. Veronica as far as on that, just to send my contact information so everybody has that. Swag and stuff is over there. Please, please help yourself to that. And is there anything out there that I missed? Yes, sir. No. The credit cards. So the credit card is May 19th. Now your debit card this is a thing. Make sure that it's activated by the 30th. Because by the 30th, because the 29th, your local government card, we're going to disable that. And so at midnight, right? And so that right. And that's what I was saying. So right. So you will be blind on that. And the thing is, if it's something that you need information wise, the call center is there. We've already positioned them to be very strategic and to be there to answer those questions, because we know that that's a real good question. That window where you will be able to visualize and see things, you all won't be able to see it, but we will be able to see it on the back end. So we can answer that, be like, hey, any questions, whatever it is, the call center is the number to call. And we'll be able to, walk you through. And then June 3rd, when everything transitions over and you go into the Civic app, then you'll be able to see everything from there at that point. Yeah, it's gonna be it's right. It's gonna definitely be a great window there. But again, we've already prepared, in the model to make sure that the folks are there to answer those questions. So, but I get it. I get it, because I'm right there. I have the ability because I can see all of that. I'm on the employee side of the credit union, so I can go in and I can see everything. I don't blame you. Right. And I will tell you, your money is still is protected. And so it will be protected under the National Credit Union Administration, the NCUA. So your money is insured. So if anything, if the market is just for all purposes intended here, I mean, if it just crashed and burnt, your money is insured up to that $250,000 or more, depending on what the ownership is. So if you have a joint membership on an account, then it goes up to 500,000. So yeah, but we got you covered there. Yes, sir. But oh Lord.
Change card numbers for automatic bill pay from local government to Civic. They can you're using your debit card to withdrawals or whatever. When do you change to new cards?
Well, the new cards, as far as they're going to come out they're coming out this month.
I think I got my first bill there.
Yeah. So the new cards will come out. They can see, but the new cards when they come, they can still continue to use as far as that account number for that card all the way up until the 29th. For their LG card. But after that, then that's when that new number needs to be there. From now up until the end of the 29th.
How many times can we make a mobile check deposit? Right now, we're only allowed 10 per month.
Right, and so that's one of the things. If you wanted to make more, that would be beyond that 10. The thing is actually they need to call in to our experience center because they have to go in and actually sort of force the system to allow that. That's all, okay. All right. Yes, ma'am.